Hi, I'm Phil Rowley. I'm a professional drummer out here in San Diego, California. I do a lot of teaching. I do a lot of playing around San Diego and LA, and I play every weekend at my church. One of our most important jobs as drummers is to count the tune off. Like whatever song we're going to play, it's usually the drummer's responsibility to count that thing off. What I see a lot of times with younger, less experienced drummers is that they don't put that much thought into the count off. They just sort of count it, 4 beats and then start playing, something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, like what I counted right there didn't really relate too much to what I played. It was a little faster. It wasn't really in rhythm. And what's going to happen there is then the band's not going to really know what to do. So it's really important that we as drummers establish that tempo and that groove before we even start playing. And so that all starts with the count off. So what I would suggest is get that beat or the tune that you're going to play in your head before you even start playing. So like let's say you're going to play that beat that I just played. So rather than just count it, get it in your head. Boom, pop, boom, boom, pop, boom. Like take a second and just sing it to yourself, so you really have it going through your body and through your mind and you're ready. You're already playing it. You're already in the groove. Boom, pop, boom, boom. Then count it. Boom, pop, boom, boom. Pop. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you'll find if you just take that second and really get it in your head that the whole band will respond. They'll all fall right into the groove right from the beginning. That's a really important part of what we're doing. When you watch the rest of the drummers on this DVD, you see that a lot of them are talking about that it's all about the groove, that it's all about the 2 and the 4, Well, what they're talking about there is playing a good solid beat. Like when you're playing a beat, that's your groove, like this is your beat. And how does that feel? Does it feel good? Are you speeding up? Are you slowing down? That's what they're talking about, is that you have to play really solid time, really solid grooves and beats. All the other stuff, the fancy fills and all the fancy stuff, is not that important. What's most important above everything is that groove. Is the groove there? Does it feel good? What I find a lot of times with younger drummers especially is that what they practice most of the time is a bunch of fills. Like 99% of the time what they're practicing is something like this. Ideas like that where you're playing. That's all exciting. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I like to do that too. But if you're practicing that 99% of the time, what are you playing 99% of the time when you're playing with other people? You're not playing that. Most of the time, you're playing hi-hat, bass drum, snare, a nice solid groove. So what if we change the way we practice? Instead of practicing 99% of the time playing a bunch of fills, what if we tried practicing playing, 99% of the time playing just a groove? It would really help you build your groove, and I think it'd make more people want to play with you, So try this. Sit down and just play a groove, like the most simple groove. It doesn't matter. But see if you can play it for 5 minutes without stopping. Try some different dynamics. Play it soft, play it loud, move over to the ride cymbal, go back to the hi-hat. But don't do any fills. Just try it. See if you can do 5 minutes, just one solid groove. And the same goes true when you're playing with your group at church, Instead of trying to, I think a lot of times we get caught up in our heads and we start thinking, oh, man, I got to impress everybody. I got to do something cool, I got to throw in this fill or whatever. Try to get out of that mentality. Try to start thinking about, it's just got to feel good. It's got to sound solid. Is the time solid? Am I speeding up? Am I slowing down? How does it feel? Start thinking in terms of the feel and don't worry about anything else. And I think you'll find your groove really will improve. Let's say you're at a rehearsal with your church band, and some of the guys bring in a CD, and they're like, hey, we really want to play this song, you know? So you start listening to it, and as you listen, you realize, wow, it's a really cool song, but the beat is much more complex than what you're able to play, maybe. Or you're not really even sure where to start with it, you know? What I've found is a lot of times you can take those parts and you can simplify them so that the song still grooves, and you can make it happen for your technical level, you know, for your ability level. Let's take a song like Switchfoot's Meant to Live. It's got this really cool beat in the middle, that little tom part. It goes something like this. Well, that's a really cool beat, but it's pretty complex. You've got a lot of bass drum stuff going on. You've got this tom and all these cymbals. It's a pretty complex beat there. So what can we do to simplify it and yet still kind of retain the feel of what's going on there? Well, to me, the most important part of that beat there is the floor tom, the snare, and the bass drum. So let's say we just take out all that other stuff and we just play just the floor tom, snare, and bass drum parts. Okay, that would go something like this. Now, to me, that still works for the song, but it's much simpler than that original beat. So you can do that with just about any song. You can take the beat, you know, you don't have to play all that extra stuff. The most important thing is that song grooves, that it feels good to the band, you know. That's what we're really all about. So simplify it down to where you can play it and you're comfortable with it, and make the song groove, and everybody will be happy. So we're talking about dynamics. Dynamics refer to volume levels, like loud and soft. It's like the old jokes. Dynamics? What do you mean? I'm playing as loud as I can. No, but seriously, dynamics can really help you to shape the song and make the song really grow and create a form. So let's take a beat. Let's say we're going to play this beat for the song. Okay, so that's our basic beat. But why don't we do this? Let's start off in the intro of the song. Let's play that same beat, but let's play it all on the hi-hat. Okay? So here's that same beat, only all on the hi-hat. The only thing I changed was I did it all on the hi-hat. I'm doing it a little softer. Okay, so that'll be our intro. Then when it comes to the verse, where everybody comes in singing, let's say we go from the hi-hat to a cross-stick sound. So we'll go to this. Okay, so it's gone up a little bit in volume, a little more dynamic range, a little higher. Okay, so then when it comes to the chorus, let's say we're going to go all the way to the snare. All right, we're still going to stay on the hi-hat, but we're going to go with the snare. So this is the chorus where everybody's singing the melody of the tune. Okay, so that'll be like this. Okay, so now we've got 3 different levels happening there. So we're starting at the intro. Let me play the whole thing through. So we'll start at the intro, then the verse, and then the chorus. Okay, so here we go. This is the verse. Here comes the chorus. So you see what I've done there is I've created a song form. When I'm playing the intro part, I'm playing soft. Then I'm coming up to a medium volume for the verse. And then I'm coming all the way up to like a louder volume for the chorus. Okay, so then when I go back to the verse again, I could go back to that cross-stick sound and bring it back down. So you're staying with the same parts in the song each time you play them. Okay, so let's say then you come to the guitar solo and you want to really build the intensity. All right, so we could go to the ride cymbal. We could play the same beat, but now on the ride. That would sound like this. So now the intensity has grown even higher. You know, the guy's ripping away on the guitar, and you're up on the ride cymbal. You know, so what you've done is you're really creating parts. Okay, so if you start thinking in terms of, building a song with parts like that, I think you'll find it becomes a much more musical experience. Uh, 1960s Rogers drum set here. It's an old vintage set. I use a pretty minimal setup most of the time, a 4-piece drum set. I usually have 1 or 2 cymbals. I like the idea of a very minimal amount of gear, trying to get the most amount of sounds out of as little pieces as possible. It's kind of like my thing. If you'd like to know more about me or you'd like to contact me, I'd love to hear from you. I have a website, philrowley.com. Drop me an email anytime. I'd love to hear from you. Hope you enjoy the DVD.